A very good morning and happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to the Early Edge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sports book born in Vegas. The chat is already buzzing. Love to see that. I know some of you tuned in to episode 1 of the new season of the Early Wedge, and I'll talk to you more about that as today we move forward with our betting show at 7 o'clock. It's going to be me, EC, Patrick McDonald, and Jason Sobel. Very excited for that. Also very excited for our recap screen. Let's see how we did. The only loss is the SportsLine pick. Larry nails Michigan. Prop Stars 2-0. Mikey B 2-0 for an overall record of 5-1. That is what I'm talking about. That is it. Not only a winning day, but a decisively winning day. Let's do it again. Let's run it back with the stars of the show. Tuesday. This is always an epic lineup. We got Tom Casale. We got Mackenzie Brooks. We got Buckets. Buckets and Tom are matching for some reason. Ken's just like you and I were in studio on Friday. Mackenzie, I'm going to start with you. How you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Admittedly, this is like one of my worst betting stretches in recent memory, but I'm a good buy low stock right now. So I'm telling you now, good time to tap in. It can't get worse than it is right now.
Hey, Mackenzie, it's a good time to be on the show. We're coming off a 5-1 day, so nobody's mad at you. It's all good. Tom Casale, how you doing today? And are we warming up towards conference championship season?
Yeah, this is I can't wait for conference tournaments to start. I'm kind of I've been betting college basketball since November 4th. I'm ready for conference tournaments. I've already started my work on those, and March Madness. Looking forward to it.
And Buckets, I can't imagine you're looking forward to March Madness. What's the next, Champions League-esque thing that's coming up in soccer?
The next Champions League-esque thing coming up is more Champions League. A lot of people don't realize that this competition is about 6 months long, so we've got plenty more coming up in Champions League. But I am excited for March Madness. Sia, you guys know me. I'm a big Bowling Green Gonzaga fan. Villanova. I think these are big March Madness teams, right? We're good to go.
They were. I mean, Villanova and Gonzaga. I say Gonzaga too. I feel like that's still the right way to say it, but everybody else says Gonzaga, and apparently that's the right way to say it. Mackenzie, are you team Gonzaga or team Gonzaga?
Gonzaga.
Yeah, me too. Tom?
Listen, I got $50K riding on the futures parlay. If they win the whole thing, they're not gonna. But if they do, you can call them whatever the heck you want.
Oh, that's great. Okay,
I say both. Actually, depends what day it is.
Yeah, fair enough. I know people out in Nevada say Nevada and they say Gonzaga, and I think it should be Nevada and Gonzaga. But I know I'm technically wrong, but I'm going to change. I'm just going to change how people say that, and I'm going to start here on the Early Edge. Joe Neuenfeld from Nevada says it's not Sia. Yeah, Joe, we know your take. We know it's the right take. I'm still going to say it my way. All right, Joe is in here. Thank you for being here. Larry Hartstein is in here. Wheelman 185. Snug the Cat is in here. I haven't seen you in a while. Said Farzad in here. Love to see everybody. Gipper's picks. Hit the like button. All right, let's get started. Let's see. What is this SportsLine comment? We need Buckets to pick a bracket based on which mascot he thinks could beat the other mascot. Okay, that's a great idea.
Or he could just flip his coin.
Actually, that's a better idea. Okay, 2 brackets. Buckets has to do 2 brackets, 1 mascot related and 1 coin related. That is a great idea. All right, Buckets, speaking of your picks, let's go to your sport. Let's go to soccer. You got a couple of picks.
Got a couple of Premier League picks here, so everyone should be able to tail these no problem. And for my first pick, Sia, I'm not talking to you, Kins and Casale. I'm not talking to the chat. I am specifically talking to Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea, listen up, guys. You are taking on Southampton this afternoon at 3 p.m. I know that February has been terrible for you guys. You have been getting your ass kicked up and down the pitch all month long, but you will never have a better bounce back chance in the entire season than playing against Southampton. Southampton is a team that, frankly, I think me and 10 members of the chat could beat right now. They are that bad. The worst defensive side in the Premier League. This is a team that is already pretty much relegation bound. If you ever needed a confidence boost, this is the best possible chance to get that boost, Chelsea. So I want you to take care of business today. And specifically, I want over 1.5 goals in the first half, currently priced at -120. You still have a healthy Cole Palmer. You still have a healthy Christopher Nkunku. This is the kind of team you put 5, 6, 7, 8 goals up against, and you have to do that immediately to get some motivation moving back as you push for the top 4. So Sia, give me an aggressive first half with over 1.5 goals. Then second play, we are going to another Premier League matchup between the Wolverhampton Wanderers taking on Fulham. And I'm going with a plus odds player prop here because, frankly, I think we see goals in this game. I think we see both teams score in this game. I think we see Wolves score at least 2 goals in this game. And if that is going to happen, a goal contribution is going to come from Mateus Cunha. Cunha has been on an absolute rampage for the Wolves so far this season. In 23 starts, he has 13 goals and 4 assists, 17 goal contributions. And right now, you can get his to score or assist on MGM at plus 140. If Wolves score 2 goals like I think they're going to, he's going to get a goal. He's probably going to get an assist. Something has to happen with Cunha for them to win this matchup. So I love this line at plus 140 at home.
All right. I like how we have the parenthetical for the TSOA, to score or assist. I've tripped up on that before. Now I'm used to it, but I still protest that the T stands for 2. I don't think we should have that. I think it's super extra. So I'm just going to throw that out there. That's very interesting, Buckets, that first game. And I know you broke it down, but over 1.5 goals in the first half only. That's pretty aggressive, like you said, right?
It's pretty aggressive, but when you look at the Southampton side, this is a team that is consistently conceding 3, 4, 5, 6 goals, and Chelsea playing at home, and Chelsea, when they're in form, are a massive first half team. So if this was 4-0 at halftime and then they didn't score again, that really wouldn't shock me. So I'd rather bet on a big first 45 minutes from this club.
All right. Very good stuff. Mackenzie Brooks, go ahead.
While we're calling teams out by name specifically, just quick message to the entire Howard basketball program. Feeling upset, feeling betrayed, feeling really confused how you not only lose that game completely, but fail to cover as well. They're playing Coppin State. Tom may be the only one familiar with that team here. They were 2-6 ATS in their last 8 up until that game. Howard loses outright. And they're playing for something. They're playing for seeding in their tournament. So that's my last of living in the past. Thank you.
If I may, what were they favored by?
8.5 points, yeah.
Wow. Tom, any reaction?
Yeah, Howard is a weird team. If you look at them, they've lost to 2 non-Division 1 teams this year. So they tend, for whatever reason, they tend to play to the competition. Because Mackenzie's right, they've been rolling in conference play recently. I kind of like their team total over yesterday against Coppin State, but you look at them and they have some weird losses on their resume for whatever reason.
Very interesting.
I thought this was a glitch. Like, I looked at our CBS app and we were halfway through the first half and both teams had scored like 9 points. And I was like, wow, okay. I will be done with the Mid-Eastern Conference after this.
This just gives big James Madison vibes. There's a whole university just called Howard, and that's hilarious to me. That's all I want to contribute.
Yes, we know your JMU and random names take. All right. Speaking of unders and speaking of fading, Mackenzie Brooks. And by the way, Larry is in the chat and he's talking about a tennis pick that goes off. If you're not in the Discord, I'm not really sure why you're not in the Discord, but it's not just picks from like the mainstream, right? We have tennis picks and things of that nature. I'm going to give out a tennis pick after Mackenzie gives out her picks. It's going to be one of the 2 SportsLine picks I'm about to give out. So stay tuned for that. It might be the same play that Larry's referring to in the chat. But if you're a member of the SportsLine Discord, you already know the answers to those questions. All right, Mackenzie, we're fading Amen Thompson. We're fading the team I love to fade in the Suns, but in a team total kind of way. Go ahead.
Wait, I just realized I don't think I've given out 2 unders on a show in like
all grown
my
up.
Short career in this ever. Like, wow. Okay, this is going to be big. Maybe this is going to be a good day. So yes, we're fading Thompson here because of the minutes and the boys are all back in town. You have Fred VanVleet who's back. You have Jabari Smith. So he's not going to be in this like starting point guard situation that he has been in the month of February. If we look back to November, December, when this team was completely healthy, he's like 6-26 to this over. He's averaging 21 points, rebounds, assists. So again, this is just going back to the full roster situation here. I just don't think odds makers are ready to adjust it yet. I think this is just a good spot where we can still get his February-esque line, even though this should be priced more like his November, December line here as well. Then we are going to go to the Suns here, fading their team total. You can find it some places 119.5. A lot of books have moved down to 118.5. So certainly act on that now. We only have them in the SportsLine model projected for 111. They're headed to Memphis. And, Memphis, I won't say is the most phenomenal defensive team, but relative, they are better at home, just allowing 112 relative to 118 on the road. But the Suns team in general, I've said it, for weeks now, it's like a version of an all-star team that just doesn't really care about rebounding or defense. But when you don't care to have the offensive rebounds and the putbacks, like it's really hard to go over these large numbers. They haven't cracked 120 since 6 games ago. So again, this is just a team that relies on their three-point shooting, which is really great. But again, like if you're not having those easy putbacks, it's very hard to cash some of these higher totals. So just fading this team that has a lack of chemistry, looks like a disaster. Memphis, you're young, it feels like they really care a lot more.
I love the take, and I love fading all things House of Cards, Phoenix Suns. Stephen Cook says, speaking of unders, I went 2-0 taking SportsLine unders in the NBA last night. Speaking of the NBA, shout out to Ben. He says, what's your bet in Mavs Lakers tonight? The spread is all the way up to 9.5, and the poll seems to like the Lakers laying the points. I know our producer, Ben. You all probably don't know. Our producer, Ben, not just a producer. I mean, he's a sports bettor as well. I think he likes the Mavs side plus 9.5. Mackenzie, have you taken a look? And no worries if you haven't. Does the SportsLine model have anything on this in terms of an edge at this 9.5 number?
I'm looking at it right now. It actually seems to lean the Lakers, which I'm a little. I mean, no AD is obviously a very large part of that. I mean, Dallas's defense, like they become unstoppable once he's there. We do have some value on Luka over 1.5 steals. You can find that at plus money right now at most books, and that's basically just what he averages, but you're getting plus money on it. So yeah, averages nearly 2 steals per game, and he's coming off a 4-steal game versus Denver.
Wow, that's impressive. By the way, on the network show yesterday, Mackenzie, you and I talked a lot of college basketball, but we had Tom and Mike McClure and Eric Casilius. I think one of the popular plays, speaking of the Mavericks, was for them to make the playoffs at around -110. Again, to make the playoffs -110. I think AD, is getting reevaluated in about a week and a half. So hopefully he comes back for the sort of the back, 8 to 12 games of the Dallas Mavericks season, and that might be enough. I do like the Mavericks to qualify for the playoffs. All right, a lot to talk about. So let's go to some SportsLine picks. We got 2. One was the tennis one I was mentioning, but we're going to start with San Jose State plus 2.5. That one's courtesy of Bruce Marshall. Again, San Jose State plus 2.5. I think you can get that instead of the -110 you see here. I think it's -105 in some places, just FYI. Tennis, we go to the Chile Open. This is Jose Honorado, of course, our SportsLine tennis guru. He likes Francisco. I might be pronouncing this wrong. Comasana, money line -105. Again, Francisco Comasana, money line -105. This is tennis. This is the Chile Open, or Chile Open. See, we're going tomato on a lot of these states' names and countries. Early wedge. Chris Kish had a nice comment. He watched the early wedge yesterday. I think people really appreciate Mike McClure's insight from a DFS standpoint. I certainly do. I did FFT DFS with him, but the expanded early wedge, it kicks back up tonight at 7 o'clock. We're in our second show of our new season on SportsLine's YouTube page. It's the go-to show for hitting the sweet spot in golf gambling. With 5 episodes a week, we'll bring you expert picks, insider insights, strategies to help you navigate the green and cash in your bets. Here are the 3 biggest questions that need answers. Where do you find it? Right here, the SportsLine YouTube channel. And of course, wherever you get your Early Edge podcast, that's where you're going to get your Early Wedge podcast. Who's on the show? So many from The First Cut, so many from SportsLine. That includes Patrick McDonald, Rick Gaiman, joining forces with EC, myself, Mike McClure, Jason Sobel. A lot going on there. When can we expect the shows? Monday and Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. That's going to be our DFS and Best Bet show. And then Wednesday morning, we've got a live chat. And then Friday, we've got a round 1, round 2 recap, setting you up for the weekend. And then Sunday around 1 o'clock, we've got a live betting and look to next week's show. That's going to be really interesting stuff. The undercurrent with all of this, of course, is we're trying to do this a little differently than most programs do it. And I think you're going to see that, and I think you're going to find that when you watch these shows. But that Early Edge brand, that betting show, it's not going to change from what you saw last year. In fact, the only change is we're adding Jason Sobel, which is pretty amazing. Okay, I got to get to a really quick ad read. First bet offer plus the $1,500 payback subscription to SportsLine. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, sign up now, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first bet wager with BetMGM, plus a 1-year subscription to SportsLine with bonus code SportsLine1500. Get exclusive members only picks for all major sports and proven models, plus 40 Vegas experts, plus predictive tools, pick'em, brackets, player stats, and more. Get this offer in 4 easy steps. Download the BetMGM Sports app and register an account using bonus code SportsLine1500. Make your first deposit of at least $10. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. Claim your free 1-year subscription to SportsLine in your BetMGM inbox. All right, that was a lot of reads. And now you got to suffer through an ad break. Buckets, before we do that, go ahead. You're on mute. Oh, tough blow. Tough.
Man.
That's a tough blow. We haven't had that in a while. So
I've been so good, but that doesn't matter. Quick question for you, Kent or Tom. Is Doncic supposed to start tonight for Lakers? Because if so, I just want to give out the narrative play of the first basket to be a Doncic 3-point field goal at plus 2,000. I feel like that's kind of fun. I'm all about the narrative there. I'm going to play that. Just throwing that out there. Plus 2,000, maybe worth the sprinkle.
That would be great for the script. That would be phenomenal.
I'm about the script. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, guys. You can go back to other things.
That is a great narrative build. Let's get Luka the first shot.
His first basket is plus 350. First basket being a 3 plus 2,000. I like both.
What time's this game?
I have no idea.
I think
it's
at
tonight.
10 o'clock tonight.
Oh,
okay, tonight. Nice.
These are past my bedtime, guys. I can't do this.
Come on, Ken. Step it up. It's a big game. All right. Well, maybe not a big game. Who knows? All right. We got to get to my golf pick. And Tom, we've kept you silent for way too long. We got to get to your college basketball pick tonight. We're going to do it right after this message from our partners.
Find our way back home.
We're back, and I've done way too much talking, so I'm going to get through my pick pretty quickly. Cognizant Classic, we're going to the top 40 market. Now, right now, DK is the only outfit that actually has top 40. BetMGM, FanDuel, they'll give you top 5, top 10, top 20. BetMGM should have the top 40 market available, I would imagine, later today, along with matchups and things of that nature. But right now, you can only get the top 40. This one is not ties included. In other words, if Bud Cauley here, he was my top 40 bet, if he ends up in that 40th position, you're going to get some sort of chop. But I think Bud Cauley top 30 is a good bet at plus 160 as well. I don't know about top 20. He was really good here last year. Bud Cauley's not a familiar name to a lot of people. I think he was battling injuries over the last 5-6 years. But he's a really good player, and he comes in with really good ball striking form. Again, his form here was good last year as well. When you look at the metrics and look what I care about at this course, Bud Cauley's checking all the boxes. I absolutely think top 20 is in play for Bud Cauley, but I'm going to play it safe and play him in the top 40 market at minus 110. Again, all my bets will be on the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock, along with EC's plays, Patrick McDonald's plays, and of course, newcomer to our brand, Jason Sobel. All right, Luka Doncic, first quarter points is a play here. Buckets, I don't know if you have anything here, but this one makes sense with our narrative shopping that Buckets brought up. Over 8.5 is minus 115. Mackenzie Brooks, any comments there?
I feel like I'm reading this wrong.
Yeah, something's off on that. Over 2.5 is plus 115, but over 8.5 is minus 115.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make a lot. Oh,
that's
no,
crazy. We are putting everything on Luka over 2.5 points at plus 115.
Get over to BetMGM and see if you can take it. Well,
hurry!
That's clearly the wrong line. All right.
Let's guess the line. What do you guys think it would be?
For like a minus 115?
Yeah. And then we'll go from there.
8.5 sounds right.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. If it's a 7.5, I'm in.
All right, fair enough. Tom, I'm thinking I'm just going to follow you blindly in college basketball like everybody else does. You like Missouri tonight.
Yeah, Missouri was in one of the tougher spots of the season on Saturday. I had Arkansas at home, and Missouri had just beaten Alabama in a game where that's the loudest crowd I had heard all season, and Missouri has a huge home court advantage. And they had to go on the road. They didn't play that poorly, but Arkansas had a little stretch in the second half where they pulled away and won. So my theory was go Arkansas on Saturday. Hopefully they win. Then we get a little double bubble here on Tuesday with Missouri coming back home against an awful South Carolina team who's 0-7 on the road in SEC play, losing those games by 18 points, an average 18 points. And then you look at Missouri. See, I think Missouri's a really good team. When those teams bounce back from losses, Missouri's been in this scenario 5 times this year, and they've come back and won at home each time by an average of 16. And then you just look at the matchup. South Carolina ranks last in turnovers. Missouri turns the ball over. They turn you over. They get out in transition. I think you see an angry Missouri team at home tonight. I think they win this game by 20 plus. I don't play a lot of big lines, but I like the spot for the Tigers. And I will also be on Discord today at 3 to go over all of Tuesday's games if you want to hop in and ask me any questions.
Okay, I have a follow-up. By the way, Ben looked into that 2.5 number. That was Luka's assist. It was just kind of placed improperly over at BetMGM. So the over 2.5 assists, the over 8.5 points. Mackenzie, any thoughts?
It looks like the first half points is 8.5 around even money, which got me thinking once I went to the book. This is so the game where we should be taking like an Austin Reeves to be the one to pop off. Like everyone's gonna be hammering the stars.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good old Austin Reeves that lights everyone up.
Yeah, I don't hate that take at all. Tom, let me ask you, speaking of Mackenzie Brooks takes, we were on the network show. You mentioned the Missouri Tigers. I want to talk to you about Clemson, just in terms of whether you think this is a viable team, because when we were looking at to make the Final Four odds on the network show yesterday, the SportsLine model had Clemson at plus 1,700, which is a long shot, obviously, but it had it as a value. Can I just ask you real quick, is Clemson a team that you think can make some sort of impact in the tournament, or is it just a watered down ACC conference and just a very mediocre team in that conference?
No, I do. You know, I placed one or two to make the Final Four bets based just on value, but those really got to be placed after you see the draw, right?
Yeah.
I'll just be honest. If you're in Auburn's pod there, I don't like you to make the Final Four. I think Auburn is clearly the best team. So I always like to look at who's the weakest one seed, and then find me a team in that bracket that could make a run. I think Clemson is one of those teams for sure. I think there's a couple teams like, Texas Tech. I think Maryland's interesting. Clemson. Those are teams that they can come out of that pod if they're in the right pod. But you just want to see, who's, and then the other key thing to me into betting one of those teams is I always look at the 8-9 game. Who's in that 8-9 game that could possibly upset that one seed? Because some of those 8-9 games are, neither of these teams is going to give Duke a run, or that you might be a team that maybe underachieved a little bit this year, but has a lot of talent, and that's going to be a tough game. So that's the other factor that comes into play when I'm looking to make a team like Clemson to reach the Final Four.
I love that analysis. Go ahead, Ken.
I have a quick question for Tom that I guess I could ask off air, but maybe it helps other people out. My whole soapbox recently has been comping St. John's basketball to Indiana football, where we're giving them their flowers for their record but like, who are they playing? Like, the Big East is so down, and I do believe they deserve to be ranked where they are and to make the tournament and have a good seed. But it's like the people who are believing they're making a deep run is my current problem. Do you believe in the St. John's team?
Oh, we better not get her and EK on the same show.
Oh my God!
I know that. EK's got St. John's ranked number 1 in the country. But no, now St. John's is a team. They're gonna stifle your defense. So that's what I mean is, are they gonna be in a pod with like Michigan, who turns the ball over a ton, and teams like that, where their defense is gonna be a bother? I do agree with EK. I think they can get to the 2 line if they win the Big East tournament and a couple of these SEC teams falter. So they will be a high seed. The Big East is really down, though. I'm not high on Marquette at all. I think they've been overvalued. I wasn't high on Creighton coming into the season. They've played well, but it's one of those weird years. And I think St. John's can make some noise, but again, they got to be in that right bracket where they're not going to fall into one of those 55-54 kind of games. And their offense, they don't make shots consistently. And that's the number one thing in the tournament is if you don't make shots consistently, you have a chance to go home soon. And we've seen that with Kentucky in recent years. They're just not making enough outside shots. They get upset.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for this type of analysis, like nearly every day over the next, what will amount to be 3-4 weeks as we get into, the championship season, conference championships, and March Madness itself. Buckets, let's transition to soccer real quick. Was there anything in the chat? I know. Was there anything in the chat that you need to respond to?
I love Georgetown. As far as soccer is concerned, if you're looking for one extra EPL bet, I'm expecting out of all the EPL matches, the one to have the most goals is probably going to be that Brighton match today. Both teams to score an over 2.5 is -120. I almost made that a third play, but I didn't want to overwhelm everyone with 3 plays on a Tuesday.
All right, fair enough. I don't know where the I Love Georgetown thing came in, but that's obviously my favorite team.
I
don't know
think
if
you
that's
guys were talking about that, right? I kind of like, I'll be honest, sometimes when the chat's not about soccer, I'm just like, oh, what a lovely day. Like I kind of just get lost and I hear one word and I'm like, I got to remember that in case they ask me.
Well, we were talking about the Big East, so
I missed it. My bad.
Georgetown's not great, but they're not terrible either. So here we are. All right. I think, Mackenzie, was there anything in the chat to address? I see you're in the chat typing away. Anything that needs to be verbalized?
No, I mean, talking about some other sleepers. I think Maryland's another great team, given the right draw to look at. I think they fit a lot of the requirements to go deep into March with rebounding, being able to travel on the road. That's always big. And they have an outside shot that a lot of teams don't.
Let's see. Ed Cooley is a trader, says Jeff Stenberg. Yes, but he's my trader, Jeff. He's my trader. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. Decent amount of picks here. We got Bud Cauley, top 40. Of course, this one doesn't start until Thursday. That's the Cognizant Classic. That's minus 110. Amen Thompson, under 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists from Mackenzie Brooks. It's minus 115. And she also has Suns team total under 119.5 at minus 115. Buckets, Chelsea versus Southampton, over 1.5 goals, first half, minus 120. And Kunat TSOA, which of course means to score or assist, at plus 140. And then Missouri, minus 13.5 at minus 110. A couple of sports line picks. We've got San Jose State plus 2.5 at minus 110. And in the Chile Open, we got Francisco Comasana, money line, minus 105. That's courtesy of Jose Honorado. Great show all, says Stephen Cook. Good luck, and let's cash some slips. Couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely love everything that's going on in the chat. Y'all are hitting the like button. We got almost 400 people in here. And ideally, I'd like to have 400 likes. But I get it. Some people are out there driving and distracted and all of those things. But thank you for participating in this chat and on this show nonetheless. What a great Tuesday. Let's make it a great Wednesday tomorrow. Let's cash some slips, like Steven says, and let's stay positive throughout the day. On behalf of Mackenzie Brooks, Buckets, Tom Casale, Ben on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge. We rest our case.